I don't think it was evil. To be honest with you, I think it's just, when it came out that AD and LeBron wasn't playing, first thing I'm out. I'm like, it's over.
Yeah.
You just didn't, you just like, oh, it's over. But what it did show me is that they can play when they want to. They can turn on the switch. Now you say, well, what does that mean? Well, if LeBron James is removed from the lineup and Anthony Davis, you certainly believe these are two of the top players in the NBA, top 10 players in the NBA. Your team doesn't have a chance against the Boston Celtics. But those other guys stepped up. So does it mean that Darvin Ham now has to figure out another type of rotation when those guys are out?
Maybe.
Because they show they can play.
They did.
D'Lo shows a down, he didn't shoot it well, but he did a lot of other things throughout the course of the game.
He had 14 assists last night.
He had 14 assists. So I said he did other things throughout the course of the game. But does it show that it's like anything, Michael, right, in football? That second receiver, that third receiver not really getting all the opportunities because the coaches feel like they got to get the number one guy the touches.
Yep.
Is that the case with LeBron and AD where Austin Reaves and D'Lo and others don't get the necessary touches, whether it's designed by Darvin.
The effort is lacking.
And the effort is lacking and less.
Okay.
Now that they remove from that, they get to touch the ball.
Yep.
Austin Reaves had 18 attempts, okay? Now, I think his career high might be like 19 attempts. So he's one shy of that, but is that because he had to? Because he can't defer? He doesn't have to because the pressure to give the ball up to LeBron or the pressure to give it to AD doesn't allow us to be who we are. I've never seen the Lakers beat a team like this when those two set out. They usually lose, right, to a good team. So I was saying to myself, though, is that something to do with coaching or the pressure of playing with LeBron and AD that they're not being able to shoot the ball the way that they've been able to show they're capable of shooting it? Now the Lakers can look at it. Darvin Ham can look at it. LeBron can look at it and say, okay, maybe we need to split things up a little bit different.
Make sure we keeping everybody involved.
Make sure we keeping everybody involved.
Right.
Because that second receiver, that third receiver goes somewhere else, and all of a sudden you look up and you go, oh, man, I didn't realize he could play like that. Or that running back splitting time, he getting 7 carries in a game. Now he goes somewhere else, he getting 22. You go, well, man, he was a different back with us. Maybe that's the case.
And it's funny because I remember, when Norv Turner, he was saying to me, he said, we really need to get the other guys involved this week, talking about the other receivers like you were talking about, Key. And he would always open up Wednesday with, well, we're going to sling the ball all over the field Sunday. Like letting them know, get ready, we're slinging it all over the field. We're going to start with a 9-point, just to get everybody involved. I thought that was interesting because really what you hope for if you're the Lakers is do that. Everybody else, do that. And now let us add these stars to that. And you got a chance at doing something. Now, how often are you going to get a game where, Jaylen Brown only comes up with 8 points? It ain't going to happen much, Jason Tatum, this dude been, he scores at will. He scored 23 points. So I think Boston, they might have taken him a little lightly, too.
Sure.
Coming into the game saying, hey, these guys they just got blow out the other day, and they're not playing. So, yeah, you're not saying this is a building block, but it shows some fight back. It shows some fight back. You know what I mean? Key always joking with me when I always say each game is about gaining information. When you open this up, you said, hey, coaches, they were talking about lacking effort. Wait a minute, okay, you're missing play, you're missing shots. Well, we're not, but lacking effort? That's the worst thing you want to be hearing at the professional level. So what I saw was fight back. And LeBron, I'm sure LeBron AD saying, y'all give us that and let us add us to this, then we can be the team we want to be.
I mean, and that's what Skip was talking about last year a little bit in the playoffs against Denver, wanting Austin Reaves to get the opportunities.
Yeah.
Well, he had the opportunities last night.
He did.
Because there was no LeBron. That's all I'm saying.
So now you good not to trade him for DeJounte Murray next, whatever it is, Tuesday or whenever the deadline is?
Thursday.
I had Matt Barnes on my podcast yesterday, and me and Matt was talking. And I also spoke to somebody a while ago that knows the NBA like it's no other. They both like Austin Reaves, but both feel like, and they don't even know that I had these conversations, they both feel like the Lakers are overvaluing Austin Reaves. They say they need an all-star back. Well, you are not giving up an all-star if you're trying to get an all-star back. So it's kind of, what are we getting in return, I guess, is my big concern.
I know DeJounte's game. He's much better on defense than Austin ever thought about being. But Austin Reaves can play basketball.
No,
he can play it at a high level because he knows how to play basketball. And he is fearless, and he is physically tough. And it's extremely valuable to have him alongside LeBron because LeBron completely trusts him and feeds off him. So back to the question of fluke or building block, well, it's actually probably a little bit of both, but I'm going building block here because there's a lot of value gained from what you saw last night. Rob Pelinka, I still say, did a great job of assembling this roster. And remember, they were without Cam Reddish. Then they lost Jared Vanderbilt for the second half. They still haven't had Gabe Vincent. I'm going to remind you, Gabe Vincent last year for Miami against Boston in the conference finals, he had a 29-point game, and then he had a 23-point game at Game 2 at Denver in the finals. Okay? So he can play, but he hasn't been able to play. And so there's no LeBron and there's no AD. And you and I have talked for months about this. It's hard to play with LeBron. The magnitude of LeBron is just huge. He steps on the floor. He's the greatest scorer in the history of basketball. And you're playing alongside LeBron. So, yes, they all kind of wait for LeBron. Like you're kind of like
the man.
I laugh because the one game when Max Christie came in, he brought the ball across court. Here, you take it, LeBron.
Right.
It was like, come on.
Okay. But they showed you, because Jackson Hayes can play. I've always liked him. He's high energy. His father played in the NFL. He has athletic ability. You have to give him his run. You have to make him feel like he belongs in the rotation because he's been DNP'd for the last 5 or 6 games. My point is that there's lots of building blocks here that if they can figure out how to, ingratiate themselves within the twosome that is LeBron and obviously Anthony's a top 5 player, you have something. But they have to feel comfortable in the 2-man rotation that are those big two. And LeBron and AD coached them up last night. I think they were instrumental and very valuable in the timeouts. But you saw a basketball team that's deeper than I think you have given it credit for, because this is hard to pull off what you pulled off.
Skip, with playing with LeBron and playing with AD does not allow these guys to feel confident in their abilities to do certain things.
Yeah.
It was, to me, glaring because you got the 2 best dudes on your team out, and all of a sudden y'all look like all-stars. Y'all look like the team to beat in the West. I don't understand.
They actually look like they were having fun.
Right. And that's what I was saying, that it looks, the weight of all of it.
Yes.
It's almost if they realize, man, we're carrying the weight of the legacy of LeBron James here, and we're not looking good and everything. And they look much better. It's amazing.
So could LeBron and AD defer to this group more than the group defers to them?
Yes.
And still
if you want to go
get
places.
to where you want to go.
Yes, if you want to go places.
So if that's the case and it works out that way, then maybe you don't trade some guys if you think that can be the case.
But let me throw out one more thing, though. Is it we're starting to see these guys play because they know next week is the day. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you just said.
Next week. Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. So now you start saying, okay, then you start playing well, and then after next Thursday, you go back to what you were. You go back to being,
Well, see, no, the opposite. But the opposite happened. How long has AD been here? 4 years now?
4, yeah.
And the opposite happened 4 years ago with all those guys when they was up for the trade.
And they were hearing about it.
They was hearing about it.
And they stopped playing. They stopped playing. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
So,
I remember that.
Candidate Brandon Ingram up in Indiana.
Yeah.
LeBron wants to trade
you.
going
to trade you. And they all started playing like they just were not very good.
Yeah,
So maybe it's the opposite.
Okay, so you guys talked about Bill Belichick's sort of discipline. The Lakers played with extreme discipline because they had to. So they had a season low 7 free throws allowed. So Boston only shot 7 free throws because they didn't foul.
Yeah.
And they were all talking about, that was our mantra going in, show your hands, don't foul, don't foul. And they were second in turnovers to their season low. They had 6 in one game, but they had only 7 turnovers. Well, that's you're going to have to play that way if you're going to win this game. And then they still allow the most three-point makes by the opponents in all of basketball. They average 14 a game, and the Celtics still made 16. So it wasn't one of those where the Celtics just miss every three-point shot. They didn't. They still shot 33%, but they made 16. But the Lakers made 19, and they've been a poor shooting team.
But they shot 50.
They shot 48. Yeah, they shot 48. I got it, but it was 33%. It wasn't like all-time bad, but another statistical anomaly was the Lakers made 19 threes and 19 twos, and that's only the second time in franchise history that's ever happened. So they were making their threes, because you're going to have to if you're going to win that game by 9.
Now, if they're going to make threes, if this team can make threes and you bring those 2 back and they're making threes, then you good.
But see, when they come back, though, I really would just like to see Darvin Ham try to figure out this type of rotation, how to get these guys involved in them not being afraid to pull the trigger, to do certain things.
Agreed.
It just feels like when LeBron is on the court, they defer way too much to LeBron and AD. And I know those are the dogs, and they're the highest paid and all that, but sometimes that's not the best in certain situations.
Agreed. All right, up next, can't wait for this.
Okay.
I said it on my podcast. I'm going to say it in just a moment to these guys. I'm sure they will disagree, but I don't see how Mahomes will ever catch Tom Brady.
No mercy, no mercy, no mercy.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.